Hi, I'm Josh Sambert, a product manager here at GitLab, and today I'll be talking through what the memory team plans to do for our 13.6 release, which is scheduled to be released to customers on November 22nd. So let's dive into our planning issue so you can see at a high level what we are planning to do. The major items we're working on here are continuing to wrap up some of our existing work that we've been carrying on from the previous release. The first is that we want to be able to bring dynamic image resizing to our self-managed customers. It is running right now on GitLab.com to a nice benefit, and we want to, of course, bring those benefits to our users. Those benefits include largely faster performance for end users because we're now delivering proper sized images, which can significantly reduce the overall page weight amount of resizing actions that a browser has to do when loading a page, for example, a merge request or comment where you have a lot of different avatars and other images. We're also working through and optimizing additional cache SQL calls. And then the other big item we're working on here, which is new, is we are pushing forward with memory improvements. And so we're changing gears a little bit away from the dynamic image resizing towards the memory constrained environment. And we'll talk more about that as details as we get to them. But let's jump into it here. As I mentioned before, we do have dynamic image resizing running in production. As mentioned, this is a pretty nice benefit to end users. Previously, avatars could be up to 200K large, even though in this case, this is quite small. And so this led to really large page sizes and really kind of suboptimal loading speeds. And so we have now got this going. And so we deliver the right size image to the browser for the particular use case. And we want to bring this to self-managed. The challenge we have is that we have the benefit of a CDN in front of .com, actually two of them. And so we are working through what the performance impact would be to self-managed, because most of them do not have a CDN in front of them today, and what the impact of that would be without any other caching. Effectively, every single image load would be resized on demand. So we're working to understand that. And then based on that information, we can then decide what to do as far as next steps here for self-managed, whether it's building a caching layer or simply leveraging, better documenting how to set up a CDN with GitLab, and then simply leveraging the CDN for caching, which could make it significantly less work on our side, since effectively that's already been built by the various CDN services. So that's the work that we're primarily going through here and thinking through in our efforts to bring this benefit to our self-managed customers. Next up, we are also continuing to look through the cache SQL calls. We have a few of them scheduled for 13.6, and these are in general just suboptimal SQL queries that consume additional memory and performance. And so, for example, we see some N+1s in here, and there are also cached N+1s, which is doubly bad because now we're also consuming additional memory as we cache those queries. So we're working through those, and we'll improve the performance and memory profile of these various controllers. Next up, again, is our kind of forward-looking next large project that we're taking on, which is to explore how to best get GitLab running with a reduced memory profile, or basically, to simply state it, reduce our memory consumption for the standard GitLab installation. The two big things we're working on here is, number one, we are working on upgrading our Ruby version to 2.7. There's a couple reasons for doing this. One of them is that 2.7 introduces a new compacting garbage collector, and this can save significant memory by how it manages memory, especially memory that gets cleaned up and reutilized during the garbage collection process. Previously, it would lead to a lot of dirty pages, and when that happens, if you have multiple processes running your web server, which we do in GitLab, over time, that just causes a reduction in the amount of memory that these processes can share. And so they consume more and more and more memory. With the new garbage compact, with the new compact garbage collector, that should be much more efficient and lead to less fragmentation and additional pages. And so we should be able to get a significant lift out of that. In conjunction with that, what we're also working to do is we're looking to preload more libraries before we start forking in the process. This will allow us to effectively, if we preload before we fork, we can then share that memory space and for each of those processes. And in conjunction with that compacting garbage collector, this should allow us to optimize to a significant degree the amount of memory that we consume for each of our Rails processes that we launch. So looking forward to that. That is the first step. Of course, also updating through 2.7 has a number of other benefits as well. In particular, for example, there are a number of performance improvements coming in 2.7, but also leading up to 3.0, as the overall Ruby goal was to make it 3 times faster in Ruby 3.0. And so this is continuing to move us towards that goal as the Ruby core team looks towards releasing 3.0 towards the end of this year or early next. So that's what we're working on here in the memory team. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any feedback on these issues, you know where to find us with the group memory label. And of course, you can find our planning issue here. And so please get in touch. And if not, we'll see you next month and we can talk about what we're planning to do then. Thanks.